I start today's warm-up with about 10 minutes of just focusing on every part of the body, all the joints. I start with the calves, raising the heels. From there I move into the Curtsy Lunge. I do about 10 each side. Curtsy Lunge is really good for your adductors and abductors. Really works the hips and the glutes. Of course, you're also working your calves through plantar flexion. As you're doing this movement, you really want to keep that foot that's sliding back off the ground as much as you can, keeping the weight in that front foot. That front foot needs to stay flat. From there I'm moving into a hip hinge, working on the gluteus maximus and the hamstrings into overhead, opening up the thoracic, following through with a calf raise. From there I move into a dynamic pigeon pose. When you do this, you want to make sure that you don't feel it in your knees. You want internal hip rotation. If you do feel it in your knees, you need to adjust to where the heel is more towards your groin. The more you go away from your groin with the heel, and while you're doing that without actually having the flexibility, you will feel it in your knees. This is why I say you do not want to feel it in your knees at all. From there I move into a deep squat and working on dorsiflexion in the ankles. So I'm really pushing those knees forward to each side and then stretching the hamstrings, bringing the hips up, back into a deep squat, back into getting that dorsiflexion in both ankles, pushing out with the elbows, leaning from one side to the other, back into raising the hips into full knee extension. From there I move into a reverse lunge with thoracic rotation. I push away with the arm that's on the knee, and I pull the opposite shoulder towards the other side. So there's pulling at the back. So think about if you're going into your left side, your left shoulder is being pulled towards your right buttocks. While you're doing this, you want to keep all the weight on the front leg. From there I move into shoulder circles, pulling up, pulling back, pulling down, pulling forward. Offset shoulder circles. Arms overhead and a Hindu squat. This I do to work the balls of the feet, and of course you're working quad strength at the same time, opening up the thoracic, the shoulders. You're pulling down with your shoulder blades, you're pulling down with your lats, you're pulling your biceps towards your ears, you're locking out with your triceps. While you're doing this, you're also working on stability in the legs. From there, I go into overhead thoracic rotation. But these are all controlled movements. From there I move into the cervical, the neck, shoulder circles, just getting the neck nice and loose. Cervical flexion and extension. Thoracic flexion, thoracic extension, and also abducting the shoulder blades and adducting the shoulder blades. There's a lot more going on in this move. It's really a combination of the neck, the shoulder blades, and the thoracic, and the shoulders. You also got internal, external rotation of the shoulders happening. Now I start to increase the blood flow, get the temperature up. Jumping jacks, great exercise to get the temperature up, but also work the shoulders and your calves. I start moving towards the back with the hands, clapping behind the back, clapping overhead. I also do some reps where I try to keep the elbows locked out, which works the shoulders more. Thoracic rotation. The movement should come from top to down. You want to pivot with one foot to protect the knee. That's it for the warm-up. Now this workout is called Procerus Fortis. It requires 2 kettlebells. You got 1 minute to complete 2 combos. The combos are dead swing clean into a strict press. You keep the bells overhead after your strict press and you perform a reverse lunge on one side. You still keep them up, you perform a reverse lunge on the other side. Then you slowly lower the bells into racking. You drop into a backswing and you clean them up again. You press them overhead, you keep them overhead, and you perform a reverse lunge on one side and then on the other. Then you lower the bells into racking, controlled and as slow as possible. You drop the bells through the legs, back dead to the ground. If you do all this right, you have about 20 to 25 seconds of rest. Every minute you start another 2 of these combos. Make sure you got enough space between you and the bells. be able to hike the bells back between the legs. Clean them up with a swing in a good rack. Everything nice and tight. Press up with a strict press. Decide which leg is going back. Put all the weight on the opposite supporting leg and slowly lunge back. Press up with that supported leg. Perform the reverse lunge on the other side. That knee is gently touching the ground. All the weight remains on the front leg. Slowly lower the bells into racking as slow as you can. Drop the bells into a backswing, clean them back up into a good rack and press the bells overhead. Come into a good overhead position. Triceps locked out, everything nice and tight in the chest, the back, abs are firm. Keep breathing, do not hold your breath. If you cannot complete 2 safe reps, reduce it to 1 rep per minute or reduce the weight. Technique and form is utmost important, especially with this exercise. If you're gonna go too heavy or too fast with incorrect technique, you're gonna injure your lower back or your shoulders or your knees. So look after yourself, no ego lifting, form and technique first, weight and reps second. Now if you've done this workout, please post below. It's always nice to hear when somebody enjoys the workout. It's a 14-minute workout. I did a 10-minute warm-up before this, and then I did some other stretching work after, plus some pull-ups. But this workout can very well be done on its own. 14 minutes is all you need. It's a strength workout. It works your legs, unilateral. It works your whole back, your abdominals, your shoulders, your triceps. It is basically a full body workout. It is to be performed nice and slow. This is the stretching that I do after the workout. I focus on the posterior chain. This stretch will get into your calves if you keep your knees locked out. It will go into your hammies, your glutes, your lower back, your upper back. Just let your head hang. As you come up, vertebrae by vertebrae, you come into a hip extension, thoracic extension. You go back down, you perform the opposite, vertebrae by vertebrae, coming down, following through with hip flexion. So not only do you want to flex your thoracic spine, you also want to flex your hips. You want to keep those knees locked out. You don't want to force this. Just relax and breathe as you're doing it. Don't rush this. Spend the time on yourself before and after the workout. You will benefit from it. Less injury, better performance. Make sure that you let your head hang as you come down. Just relax the head. Look in between your legs. This little stretch here gets more into the hamstrings, just in particular the side that you're moving into. It feels really good. So you want to keep your knees locked out. So if you can't keep your knees locked out at this stage, you don't even want to be doing this stretch here. Only if you keep your knees locked out and you can come down with your hands like this is when you want to perform this rotation, side to side. If you haven't tried this, you really should. It gives a really nice different stretch in your hamstrings that you haven't felt before. From here, I'm moving into the reclined hero pose. This is really good to get into your ankles, the front of your shins, your quads, your hips, your thoracic, just about everything. It's a real good anterior chain stretch. At first, when I move into this pose, I want to keep a bit of weight on my head. As I get more into the pose, I start going down with the shoulders and bringing the back down towards the ground. Here I'm stretching the lats on each side, coming back into the reclined hero pose. As you do this, you want to extend your hips. That will push your knees down towards the ground more. Then relax, start breathing, slowly lower your shoulder blades to the ground. I perform the opposite here. That will give you a good stretch in the back and your shoulders and your lats. You really want to crawl out with your hands. So you want to pull your hands away from you as you're doing this, and then push your chest into the ground. Here I'm moving from hip flexion into hip extension. As I bring the butt up towards the sky, I feel a good stretch in the hamstrings and the calves, also the back and the shoulders. Focus is on pushing the butt up towards the ceiling. Then perform the opposite and push the hips into the ground with the shoulders far away from the ground. You do not want to feel this in your lower back at all. All the movement should be in your thoracic, the 12 vertebrae of your thoracic, so which is more from your above your navel to your neck. You don't want to feel any movement underneath that. Contract your glutes to protect your lower back. I hope you enjoyed this workout. Make sure you press like and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Caveman Training. There's also a website, www.cavemantraining.com. We're also on Instagram, Real Caveman Training, and we're also on Reddit as Caveman Kettlebells. Check us out. See you soon.